William Cooper. Hey, I'd like to say, because I've talked about all this stuff, I'm not nobody important, but I will never suicide myself.
Yeah, well, that's murder. Suicide is murder, and none of these patriots of God that they've claimed were committed suicide actually did. They were murdered. I mean, that's nothing but a joke, but to be suicided by an intelligence agency. That's what they call it. You're suicided by them because they murder you and then claim you committed suicide.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I will never kill myself. If there's anything I could turn up dead, obviously I could, by chance, die in a car accident or something. But
yeah, and obviously a paraplegic or practically a paraplegic can't strangle himself with a piano cord in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like they did to Phil Schneider, or like what they did to the latest one, Thomas. What's his name? Huntington? I can't even remember his last name. The one in Colorado who suicided himself with 2 gunshot bullets to the back of his head.
Yeah, and then there's no blood around.
Hunter Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. Come on. These people are murdered by assassination groups that go throughout the United States, and then they claim, oh, it was a suicide.
That's why I was saying earlier that I get paranoid. I could be talking, when I talk this stuff, that I could be talking to the wrong people or something.
You know what? It's just like, who cares? Be bold. If you're going to be bold, be bold.
Yeah.
Because the more bold you are, you think you're going to get to go home. No, he keeps you here longer because he needs you. Because somebody else is brave enough to be bold and stand up against them.
Well, here's another thing. I have a theory. This is nothing proven, but I think that's why that they say that the Levitovich Jews or whatever, they allow incest or something in the Talmud or something.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is written in there because they have to keep their satanic bloodlines pure.
Yeah, well,
I don't know for what reason or anything, but
the reason they torment children like that is because it's a greater sacrifice, greater honor for Satan to torment something so innocent. Children are innocent, and to steal that from them.
Sad.
It's okay in the Talmud to rape a girl as long as she's under the age of 10. I mean, these people were taking wives at 5 and 8 years old. I mean, they're sick.
So this Talmud, they wouldn't say that in like what you could acquire today, or is that something that you could, like a normal person wouldn't be able to acquire?
Well, they do. Oh. They're all pedophiles. George Bush Sr.? Have you read the book, Transformation of America?
Talmud? Is that like a Bible book that people can just get?
Well, it's the Talmud. No, because what they do is they have a fit when people expose what the real Talmud believes. See, to them, one of the names they call everybody else who isn't one of them is a goyim, a Gentile. Whether you're a real Jew or not, you're just a goyim if you don't agree with them. Anybody who doesn't agree with them is one of their seed line is a goyim. And so the Talmud is not allowed to get into their hands because they don't want them reading it. And what they do is they mask the terms throughout the Talmud. They call Jesus by various names. They don't just call him by one name, so that when they refer to him, the other Talmudists know they're talking about Jesus, but nobody else will know.
Wow.
And when I put that stuff up on my website 4 years ago on the Watcher Files, I immediately came under fire by PayPal, said, take those articles off your website or you're going to lose your account with us, because I had their donation buttons on my website.
Mm-hmm.
I said, fine, you're not going to tell me what to take down off my website. Take your stuff off. Take my account. You're not going to tell me what to have and what I can and can't have on my website. I don't have a website. They were calling my website a hate site. I said, I'm not promoting this hate. I'm exposing it for the hate it is.
Yeah. That's what they do. They flip the script.
And so they canceled my PayPal account. I could no longer use them. And it wasn't very long after I was notified by another ministry that had the same articles on their website trying to expose the Talmud, had lost their PayPal, ended up closing down their ministry, and they said, more power to you. They put us out of business. And I'm like, because they lost their PayPal account, they were put out of business. So I don't run a business. I run a ministry. The Lord will take care of my expenses. He'll take care of this. And he always says, that website's been up 4 years. I said, I'm not going to take down one article. And you can look at my website. I haven't taken down an article in 4 years. You can scroll forever on that thing. You can read for months off that website.
Yeah, there's plenty of information out there.
Yeah, I just don't take anything off because the problem is that so many people come into learning about the New World Order at all levels have never read this stuff before. So other people who jump on my site go, well, that's been on the Internet for years, that's common knowledge. To them, yeah. But when you get a lot of new people on, they start reading the stuff for the first time, it blows them away.
Yeah, I started getting into some stuff. They were talking about Rh negative blood is like everybody. Rh negative blood is like alien blood. Like the scientists don't know.
Well, I've also heard the other argument that that's the true bloodline of the Lord and His people. I've heard both angles on that one.
Yeah, because they said it's alien. Everybody else, it's like 87% of the people in the world have the different blood types. Those are all have Reese's monkey genes in it.
Well, I heard it was slandered that it's really a pure bloodline, too. I mean, I've heard arguments for all of it, you know. And I just don't get into the blood typing stuff. I don't get into it because we're all contaminated. In the days of Noah, all of it was contaminated, but a minority. A handful of people had pure human DNA. And that's how it's going to be in our days. So it doesn't matter if you have A, B, O, or R, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because only the Spirit of the Lord can draw people to Him. And so if you're Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, English, French, German, if the Spirit of the Lord is calling you to Him, then salvation is yours. It's a yours to have, accept.
Sherry, my wife, she says the good people will go. And I'm like, no, and I made her say the salvation prayer, but that's no way to do it, you know. I mean, I didn't make her, I didn't like...
Well, you know what, that is a crutch, because a lot of people believe that, and I even have it on my websites just so people are aware of making a commitment to Him. But there is nothing that says as soon as you say this prayer, your name is going to be written in the book of life. Yes, it is, but you know what keeps your name there is by following Him and doing what He says and seeking Him.
Right. That's
what keeps your name written in the book of life.
And the tabernacles and all that.
Right, because so many people, I mean, what in the world did Abraham and all of them do without this salvation prayer? They didn't have it. They were still His people. Why? Because it's not a thing that you say with your lips. It's a way you live with your life. It's living for Him. And so He knows those who are His because they follow and seek after Him. It's their life.
And
they're a living sacrifice to Him.
Wasn't it also that they were sacrificing goats and stuff and animals, that it was a substitution blood until Christ came or something?
Right, and He was the final and the perfect sacrifice. And there's a movement today to negate all of those, saying that there was an evil God in the Old Testament who demanded sacrifices, a bloodthirsty, angry God. And you have to look at why, because that takes away the perfect sacrifice of Him on the cross in the New Testament. People have to be very careful about what they decide to throw out and what they decide to keep as truths.
Oh, people say that there's two different gods.
Oh, yeah. The thing now is that there's two different gods. There's a God of the Old Testament and a God of the New Testament, or that there were two different gods running side by side in the Old Testament, one who demanded sacrifices and one who didn't. And one who was a God of war and murder, and one who wasn't. One was just pure love. You got this one God who was just pure love and peace and bliss, you know, this voodoo New Age God that they like to prop up. And then there's this other God who was a warmongering, blood-demanding God. You know what? They can't understand that our God is both, a God of love and a God of judgment. Because, yeah, He did command people, the Israelites, the armies, to wipe out every man, woman, and child in a city when they tore it out and when they destroyed it and went to war with it. Why? Because they weren't pure human. And then, of course, the Bible doesn't say that, so people don't understand that these children and these women were not 100% human, and that's why the Lord had His people wipe them out.
And also, they were praying like paganistic ways instead of His ways.
Yeah, they're praying
you have to
to
turn
God.
His back on them because people were tricked.
Right. That wraps up the first hour. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, Sherry. God bless you.
God bless. Thanks for calling in. Bye-bye. That wraps up the first hour, everybody. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back for the second part. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then in 5 minutes.